INFRARISK has been going on for 3 years, and this project was focusing on developing more reliable stress tests for critical infrastructures affected by natural hazards. We have achieved quite a number of goals, which will be essential to aid decision makers for infrastructure managers.
So we're very interested in, for example, bridges and tunnels and road segments, and identifying the critical sections and the vulnerability of those sections.
But climate change is creating new hazards or more frequent hazards, especially with respect to flooding and rising sea levels. Has changed dramatically over the last couple of years, and is changing, will continue to change dramatically in the future.
In the case of earthquake, we consider both the direct damage to the elements, but also the damage that can be triggered by secondary events such as landslide.
In not looking, say, at the transportation network in isolation, but looking at the transportation network in conjunction with the energy network, with the telecoms network, with the waterways and other distribution networks.
Rainfall is a very good example of that, because water causes a lot of our natural hazards. And if we can set up simulations so that we can see how much water is falling and where, then we can also predict how much water is going to be in rivers, and how bridges and road sections are affected by this water, and how cities are affected, whether or not they're flooded or not. But this also relates to cascading events. We can bring in early warning systems because weather predictions are pretty good these days. We can actually evacuate people in certain areas if we think that there's a reasonably large increase in the probability of landslides occurring in those regions.
With the tools that are developed in the framework of the INFRARISK project, we are providing a way for a preliminary analysis of these effects.
Which I think it will be a very useful tool when managing critical infrastructures in Europe.
We've come up with a process that you can use in many different situations. So infrastructure managers that have all different types of infrastructure, all different types of hazards, can run very detailed simulations of a whole system, which gives an amazing amount of information so they can decide what it is they need to do.
It was a very rewarding experience. Most of the complicated mathematics has been buried into a software tool, so I'm happy to tell the infrastructure managers that you don't have to worry too much about the complicated mathematics. It's all in there. All you need to do is to provide the data about your system, your network, about all your bridges and your connections between the bridges and your roll or rail system. If you put all the information in, then the software should take care of it.
I think if we train our infrastructure managers well and they go forward using all of the tools at their disposition, they're going to be able to make decisions that will be able to reduce our risk related to infrastructure and natural hazards, and in that essence, we're getting safer.